Hi there. All right, it's October, Friday the 13th, 2023 at 7:35 p.m. I just thought I would upload to the channel a revisit on October the 11th, 2013, and that is Yah's or our climb into the altar to the Lord. At that time it was Daphne's 101st birthday. She died in 1999, and so 10 years later, 2 days ago, October the 11th, 2023, would have been Daphne's 111th birthday, the 111 that we know is Yah's rebirth day. So I'm this is an introduction as a reminder. It's always good to see Yah from yesteryear, and I'll let it play as it is. So you're going to see me talking again, because I did upload it to the BitChute channel last year, so it's me more than a year ago, May 2022, talking. Everything is still relevant, and so it's revision for most of you and bringing back your memories. And I'd just like to remind you, because indeed the world is rumbling and people are trembling, but remember the last message to our messenger from Ezekiel. He said, so this was the message given on Saturday the 23rd of September. Now, Yah's busy, and we've been told over and over that we are protected no matter what's going on in the world. We don't have to be concerned because we are protected. So as much as you get on with your daily lives and looking after your health, looking after yourself and your loved ones and family around you, but this was the admonition. He said that the beginning of the end had begun. So what's going on in the Middle East is the beginning of the end. That is the good news, as horrifying as it is to know what's going on. And I say that because what you're about to watch from 2013, when Yah and I spent 10 weeks in Egypt, we were received by all the Muslims. They were respectful, courteous to us. They had just one question: was Jesus the Son of? Was Jesus God? And of course we said yes. And was he actually crucified? Yes. They received all of the news graciously, and to them it was a wonder, because in their own writings they know that Christ will come again as a man and walk beside their Imam Mahdi. So to bring paradise to the earth for all people. Now there's just one group, and we know who they are. I've decided today that we'll switch from zoo, but it's the tribe that rhymes with stew, because knowing Yah's, if you like, temper at this time, they're finding themselves in the stew. What's going on is what needs to wake more and more people up, and this is their greatest fear, that people who are now awake to who's behind everything, who in the stew, well, anyway, you know what I mean. So, the beginning of the end has begun. The world will rumble and the people will tremble. It is a time for faith and for knowing that the Father knows all things and has prepared the way for his people. Whatever is going on in the world, stay anchored to the Father within you and through you. And that is the path through the turmoil. So that's a reminder from September 23rd. So, I'm going to switch this over now and just let this run. The video itself is 55 minutes long, and just revision for you. And I was going to say that at this time while we were in Egypt, we met Muslim families, of course, and children. remember little Mina gave me her thongs. Her greatest treasure were her thongs. And she was just 10 years old at that time, so she's a young woman of 20 now. And so this lovely family, Jasmine was the mother's name, and prepared a wonderful meal for us. And you might remember I was talking about Oscar, the camel, and Ahmed, the camel driver, from those videos. But it is families like Ahmed's beautiful family that are being slaughtered. So, Yah's admonition throughout all the turmoil to remain anchored in the Father himself. So with no further ado, I'll let this run and enjoy it. As soon as I can get over there. Here it goes. Right, here we go. And if I can mute the microphone, so...
Gosh, huge building. Right, another 20 steps.
It's just like carrying the cross.
Oh, there it is. You got past here. See?
Yeah, standing up.
Oh no. You're gonna get over that. Time we try to climb the edge of the rock, right? That's quicker than that, too. The young fellow weren't kidding when they said it exhausted. There.
Well, we've got to get up one of these sides, haven't we? Off we shall.
That's the other one. Right hand. Too much. He got tired.
Farewell.
It's our brother. No brother for you? I'm just tired. It's a brother for you here.
Yes, I'm there to push him.
I'm very old, my brother. 900 years old, isn't it? No problem? Oh, I guess 20 steps. You should have an elevator. You're from the lobby here, I'm from the outside. Just tired.
Yes. Thank you. No, about another stop halfway.
All right, I'll stop there. That was a guide who was asking her if he was okay, does he need help? And I said, no, I'm just tired. He actually said at one point in time, I'm 900 years old. And yeah, so I'll stop here because at the end of the Grand Gallery, that's the area known as the Great Step, and then from there you have to get down to crawl into the antechamber. I'm going to show you a diagram of the antechamber. Then we'll switch to Dex's presentation, and you should be able to appreciate now so much more when you hear about the Great Pyramid and the altar to the Lord. Just how sacred it is and what it's really all about and who it was built for. It was built for Yahweh. It's made on the measure of a man, and Yah is that measure. All right, here is the diagram of it, and yes, you can see the low section there. It says the first low section. So yeah, Yah being 6'3" tall, hands and knees to get into the actual antechamber. Me, well, I just kind of had to duck. I say at one point that being only 5 feet tall has its advantages, and certainly this day it was a great advantage. And within the circle there, the dates that Dex covers very thoroughly. And the second low section before you crawl into the not the antechamber, the king's chamber. So yeah, Yah has written in here, from the king's chamber, the Lord is walking past the antechamber and into the grand gallery equals the earth. And that's Isaiah 63. The broken coffer is the tomb unable to be contained in the hell of Freemasonry and Zionism. And it's actually Yah bursting the womb of Daphne Golightly. When we get to that particular part of the video, you'll see the burst coffer, and it's all symbolic. The altar to the Lord, the Great Pyramid being the Bible in stone. So now I've brought up Dex's presentation. Enjoy this. And yeah, this was presented to John Lennox. Now let's take a look at John Lennox before we go here. A mathematician and a professor from Oxford University. And this is the reason that Dex put it together. Surely he would appreciate how God reveals himself within the measure of the creation, and in particular his altar to himself in the midst of Egypt. So I'll pause this while I go over and find John Lennox online. Here is John's website, either human intelligence. Well, anyway, that will come back in a second. I think we'll continue to read it. Professor of Mathematics at Oxford University, emeritus now. Either human intelligence ultimately owes its origins to mindless matter, or there is a creator. It is strange that some people claim yes, come on back, that it is their intelligence that leads them to prefer the first to the second year. Well, of course, there was no response from John Lennox, and we really didn't expect it, because there hasn't been. Pope Benedict XVI has been the only one from the world of Christianity that humbled himself to realize who it was that he was communicating with, because he recognized the image of the Shrouded Ring as that of Yahweh. Brian Leonard Golightly-Marshall. So I'll pause this again as we go back to the presentation that Dex prepared for John Lennox.
This presentation to answer just one question. If God was to prove himself back on the earth, how would he do it? Well, hopefully I will be able to demonstrate how that might be done, and in fact is done. So let's start with this man here, Brian. He was born on the 11th of January 1944 in Sydney, and the sunrise to moonrise on that day was 888 minutes. There we have showing you the times and showing you the calculation of 888 full minutes. Okay, back to Brian, his first wife Eileen. He married her on the 23rd of the 4th 1966 at the age of 1162.6 weeks old. He had a daughter with Eileen, Tracy Lee. She was born on the 4th of May 1968 in Port Alberni. The sunrise to sunset on that day was 888 minutes. And there you have it now. 14 hours 48 minutes is 888 minutes. Incidentally, Brian is 8880 days old when Tracy Lee is born on the 4th of May 1968.
Right, just breaking in, I've paused Dex's presentation. Yeah, 8880 days old, May the 4th, 1968, Tracy's birthday. Now that just happens also to be the Greek gematria of Matthew 1:23, which is the verse of, for unto us, behold, rather, a virgin shall give birth, and his name shall be called Emmanuel, which means God with us. that entire verse, Matthew 1:23, has a Greek gematria of 8,880 days. Gematria, rather, 8,880 years age in days on Tracy's birthday.
Okay, then we have his third wife, Michelle. She was born on the 19th of March, 1974. Now, Brian is 1162.6 days older than Michelle. And then we have Michelle's daughter, Rhiannon, Brian's stepdaughter. She was born on the 20th December 1979, Geelong, Australia. And the sunlight duration, sunrise to sunset, was 888 minutes. Additionally, the age difference between Rhiannon, Brian's stepdaughter, and his daughter Tracy Lee is 11.626 years. Then we have Brian's brother Ronald. He was born on the 25th of February 1935. So that makes Brian 8.88 years younger than his brother Ronald. So, just through his family tree, we have generated two numbers here. We've had them repeating themselves. It's quite synchronistic. I don't know what the odds are exactly, but we've generated 888 and 11626. Now, what do these numbers mean? Okay, well, the 888 number, we're going to apply that to gematria and see how it comes out. Now, gematria is the technique of using the numerical value of Hebrew and Greek words based on the value of their constituent letters to find a hidden meaning or symbolic meaning to the corresponding word. We also have another definition of gematria, a cryptograph in the form of a word whose letters have the numeric values of a word taken as a hidden meaning, or the Kabbalistic method of explaining the Hebrew scriptures by means of the cryptographic significance of the words. And on the right you have the Greek characters and their numeric value. That's just part of it. Obviously there are more letters. So when we do apply 888 in Greek gematria, we get the word Jesus. You can see the individual letters, their numerical value on an individual basis, and then the total to make that word 888. And there's just a Google search, 888 Jesus gematria, and you can see there are many hits. And then there's the 11626 number. 11626 is found in the Great Pyramid of Giza in the antechamber. Its extreme length from north to south, that being 116.26 pyramid inches. Now this information comes from that book there, The Great Pyramid, The Secrets and Mysteries Revealed by Piazzi Smythe. He's the Royal Astronomer for Scotland when he wrote it in middle of the 19th century. So it's showing you here the 11626 number coming up in other dimensions in the pyramid. One being its relationship to pi and the base of the pyramid being 365.242 sacred cubits. These are some geometric diagrams of the relationships of pi, 365.242 and the 11626 number. So back to Brian's family tree. Brian had another daughter, Nicole Eileen, with Eileen. She was born on the 2nd of November 1977. Nicole is 777 days, or if you like, 2.127 years older than Rhiannon. Michelle gave birth to Rhiannon when she was 32.75 years old. So these two numbers, 2127, 3275, what do they mean? Okay, well I'm going to apply these to Strong's Concordance. So what is Strong's exhaustive concordance of the Bible? you can read up on it there, but basically it's every word in the Bible was assigned a number. God was assigned 1, and various other you'll see later. But it was used as a codex for quick cross-referencing and that type of thing. But every word in the Bible has a number associated with it. For instance, the 2127 number equals Zia. I'm using a computer version of Strong's Concordance, therefore I can just type in the Concordance number and it will tell me what word that associates with. We can follow that through to its origin. So the 2127 number is Zia. The 3275 number is Yahweh-can. Now each of these words only appear once in the whole King James Version, 1611 Bible. You can see there number of references found once. So with over 8,600 different words in the Hebrew Concordance, what would be the odds that the words Zia and Yahweh-can, which are only found once, appear in the same verse? Well, not only in the same verse, but immediately next to each other. Now I don't know what the odds of that are either. Now if we take the 2127 Zia number and the 3275 Yahweh-can number and add them together, we get 5402. Now 5.402 years is the difference in time between Brian's birth and that of his sister June. So going back to 1 Chronicles 5:13, where we find Zia and Yahweh-can, we see that there are 7 names in that verse. There they are. Each of these names has a number value. As I said, has a concordance number for quick referencing. The mean average of these numbers is 4443.714. There's a few other decimals. The word God is found 4443 times in the King James Version 1611 Bible. And there's a page off the internet there showing 4443 times for the word God. It's all some Strongs. So 444.3 kilometres is also the distance between the birth locations of 2 of Brian's children, born in houses built by Brian in Port Alberni and Quesnel, Canada. Now here's Magellan. Magellan is standard issue for seafarers and aviators. It's accurate within 3 meters, I believe. Much better than Google Earth, which can be quite a long way out, depending on what you're trying to measure. But as you see there, the 2 points, you've got the latitude and longitude on the right, and you see the distance is 444.3 kilometers. So the measurement of the Earth, God's temple, relative to locations important to Brian, bring forth many interesting synchronicities. So Brian lived with Michelle Nye at Nell Street, Greensborough, Victoria. Michelle was his 3rd wife. There's the latitude and longitude there. From this location, the distance to the South Pole, in my opinion, is an important landmark on the Earth, is 5813 kilometres. So once again, Magellan done the necessary measuring, and 5813.6 kilometres. So what is 5813? It's also the height of the Great Pyramid of Giza, including the missing capstone in pyramid inches. 1 pyramid inch being 1.00106 British inches. And this can be calculated using the dimensions of the perimeter of the pyramid and the pi angle of the sides. Once again, showing the relationship of the perimeter base, 365.242 sacred cubits, and the pi angle, the value of pi, and the height being 5813. Now there's some more geometric diagrams of the casing stone angle and the relationships between pi, 365242 and 11626. So the location at Nell Street also reveals truth through geometria. Okay, we know Nell Street is on a latitude of 3742.524. But what's the circumference of the Earth at this latitude? Well, first I have to convert that format of latitude into decimal degrees so we can use this application. So 3742,524 calculated to 378456. Now plotted that into the circumference measurer, and we get 31,685,8653 kilometres. Now we get 3168 being the first 4 digits. Now this is where we apply it to gematria, and 3168 is Lord Jesus Christ in Greek gematria. There's the table of letters and their numeric values, the individual words, the individual letters, the totals of each, and the final total there, 3168 at the end. Incidentally, in order to show that not everyone's life and family tree generates all this synchronicity and numbers that actually have meaning, I took a similar pool of people in my family and done the necessary calculations as far as I could. It's a little incomplete, but you can see there are no synchronicities at the moment, and also with the difference in time of birthdays, etc. as well. You can look at those in more detail, but nothing that jumps out at all. So there you have it. I'm trying to show you how the pyramid is important. Now if you're wondering, well, why is the pyramid so important? It's just a tomb that was built by Egyptians. Well, follow on and you'll see in the following presentation how you may not believe it.
Frank Chaloux, author and lecturer, is one of the many archaeologists who are convinced that the Great Pyramid is not a tomb.
The reason that the Great Pyramid is not a gigantic tomb is evidenced by the fact that when we do examine the coffer in the king's chamber, there are no inscriptions thereon, no embellishments, neither any on the walls, any hieroglyphs in honor of such a king and his deeds. And of course, historically speaking, there never was a body found, no evidence of that kind whatsoever. And we know that the sarcophagus couldn't have been drawn up its passages because the width of the coffer would prohibit its being drawn along the passage system into this innermost chamber. And also, the peculiar fact is that there is no lid, nor were there any fragments of such a lid ever found. This lidless coffer seems to suggest that this represents the chamber of the open tomb, that this...
Okay, well, I won't play all that all the way through. That's excellent, though. What they're saying publicly and now decades old about the Great Pyramid was not built for some hapless Egyptian king as a tomb, etc. What I will go to now is, you've just seen a glimpse of the king's chamber. Well, I'll find the video where Yah makes it through the antechamber. You've seen the diagram, and he comes into the king's chamber, and there's 3 important measurements, all by Piazzi Smythe, the 3 measurements being from the grand, the great step through to the far wall of the king's chamber, and then from that line to the coffer itself, and then the measure to the ceiling, and multiplied by a lunation of time, which is exactly 29.53052 days, gives you 31101, which is the Julian day that Yah was reborn on, Julian day 24-31101. And it's also, as I was explaining to Wayne, who's been here for the first time, that it's a great big clue. Why? Because there are 31101 verses within the 1611 King James Version of the Bible, which of course is the tool that Yah has used to decode everything and reveal himself within the measure of the creation and his altar to himself. So let's get out of here, and I will pause this while I find the recording and come back.
Okay, here I go.
Do you want to hear me on it?
I've got this one. All right, here I go. Fortunately, I don't have to bend over too far. What's that? Yeah. Oh, my glasses, Dave. All right, so these are those. Yeah. Here's the. This is the antechamber. Okay, standing up in the antechamber. Right, there's the granite leaf. You can see here where others should have been. Down again to pass through into the king's chamber. Okay, made it. Here comes the king. Here we are. They have lights, ceiling, there's the coffer. Historic moment. Comes the king. Okay. There's the coffer. Here comes the king from the antechamber, and he's in the king's chamber. He's feeling like crucifixion all the way up. Was that like carrying your cross, babe? Was that like carrying your cross? Climbing into his coffer. Taken how long to get here? 2,000 years, remember?
Right, I've skipped ahead to, there was 10 minutes of video on that being in the king's chamber. Then we had to leave, and there was 10 minutes of video on the descent. Not going to watch all of it, but you'll appreciate now, having ascended the ascending passage. Now Yah, at his height, had to get back down, and it was actually more difficult. Let's take a look.
$50,000 US dollars to go into the Queen's chamber. The light at the end of the tunnel there.
I would say I've had too many experiences. People freaking out.
Yeah. Okay, babe, you go first.
Bloody mad. What? How am I going to get down this thing?
On your bottom. So I would ski down mountains on my bottom.
Strong. I guess I'll try the other one. Corners are extremely accurate, everything else is crumbled away, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it a straight line?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Is that next on that map?
Elevator.
Elevator, escalator.
Escalator.
Yes, bullshit, this is...
Yeah. That reminds you of our room, upper room in Rome.
Let's give the girl a call.
Yes.
You got the twins, man?
Somewhere. It's an easy find.
How do you figure? You walking around?
I'm fine. I'm waiting for you to get all the way down so I can come down non-stop. Because this is just my height, babe. You know, so... There's an advantage to being only 5 feet tall. There's an advantage to being only 5 feet tall.
Smack on the shoulders.
Yes. This is counting down 40 seconds before this one's finished. And then I'll just start it again anyway, so...
the 4th century video.
Okay. This is where we left the boys, right? This is where to meet now at 4 o'clock?
All right, Yah wanted me to fine-tune 1 Chronicles 5:13. Dex has already covered it in his presentation, so we'll go back there, and yes, I'll just speak to you a few other coincidences about the numbers found within that verse, and then we'll take a look at the pyramid again as a diagram, and yeah, it won't be too much longer before the end of this video. Let's get out of here. Okay, this is and their brethren of the house of their fathers were Michael, Meshullam, and Sheba, and Uriah, and Yakan, and Zia, and Heber, and then finishing with the word 7. Again, adding the concordance numbers for the 7 names outlined in the green there. And you have a total of 31106. When divided by the 7, the average 4443.7142. Now, you've already seen in Dex's presentation what the 4443 is. Well, that's the number of times the word God is found within 3877 verses in the King James Bible. And the 0.7142 is actually a reference to Isaiah 7:14, which is, again, speaking of a son born, his name Emmanuel, fulfilled over on Tracy's birthday of 4th of May 1968, when Yah was 8880 days old, that being the Greek gematria for the verse. Matthew 1:23, which is about a virgin giving birth to a son and being called Emmanuel, etc. Now, Yakan, Michelle's age, 32.75 years old when she gave birth to Rhiannon, and the difference between Rhiannon and Nicole, 2.127 years, which is 777 days. There are 777 mentions of the word city in the King James Bible, the last one being the holy city, of course. Now, I wanted to look at this because we're going to, all right, before I go there, let's just find out another synchronicity with the number 3275. First of all, let's look at this. All right, if you're not familiar, then on the right you have the masonry layers of the Great Pyramid, the altar to the Lord. Now, all of you should know that the countdown began from lunation 0, which is the baseline, and that's a date in time, December the 18th, 1922, lunation 0. And then you step up to the first layer of masonry. Now, each layer of masonry aligns with a solar eclipse that has already occurred throughout time. But the first solar eclipse occurred at the top of the first masonry layer, and that has a date. That is March the 17th, 1923. Now, there are 202 masonry layers up to the summit platform, where there are 2 more masonry layers, but they are crumbled. They are not in form. They are crumbled as stones, if you like. So there are 204 in total masonry layers, the stones just scattered on the top of the 202 masonry layers intact, and up to the summit platform. So the distance in time between the solar eclipse that occurred on March the 17th, 1923 to the last solar eclipse aligning with the 202nd masonry layer was November the 14th, 2012. So what is that distance in time? Well, I've got it open here in the days between dates in time. it's 32,750 days. So there's that 3275 for the name Yakan. Michelle's age when she gave birth to Rhiannon, 32.75 years old, to Rhiannon or Zia, right beside her in 1 Chronicles 5:13. So let's get away from that and go back to here. Mother and daughter, 3275, and Zia, 2127. Now, coincidentally, not my mobile phone number ends in 2127. That's the phone number we've been using. It's public there for anybody to contact us on, to message if they are coming to visit, etc. Now, I'll go further because the 7 names, as we said, they total 31106. But if you add the concordance number for the word 7, you can see it has a concordance number of 7651. If you add that to the total of 31106, you get 38757. And many of you should be familiar with the 3875. That is the number listing in the Greek concordance for the word comforter, and is the distance from the rebirth location that Yah was taken home to when he was 14 days old at 105 Rothschild Avenue, Rosebery, Sydney, identifying the ruler over the pit of hell, Rothschild. Measuring from that home location to the South Pole, it is 3875 miles. Now, taking now the average, because we've added in an 8th number to total 38757 to the names listed in 1 Chronicles 5:13, averaged 8 is 484.4, which is, or rather 4844, and that happens to be the height of the pyramid itself in feet, 484.4 feet, with the capstone in place, being the rejected capstone. So you are having a taste of the perfection of the revelation. Of course, the altar to the Lord itself on the latitude, that is the same number as the speed of light, all in the description here on this diagram. The 144,000 white alabaster stones that were covering the pyramid, stolen, and as I said, they're all scattered throughout Cairo as building blocks, as these were stolen from the 8th century forward in time. But a taste, and now seeing in real time through video our ascending, and then the time in the king's coffer built to Yah's measure. You saw the perfection of his length within the king's coffer, and the corner that has burst is the bursting of the womb of Daphne Golightly to bring forth the Christ child, and it's been his journey throughout his altar as determined by its measure by good men who have laid it all out for him, so he can put it all together for all of you watching now. All right, I'm back, having found more drawings because I want to finish off with this. Adding the 8 of the concordance numbers, 38757 being the total, the average being the 4844, which is the height of the pyramid in feet, 484.4 with the capstone in place. Now, yes, you know that 3875 is the comforter. Well, let's take a look at what happens to be the center of gravity of the altar to the Lord. And when you see this, of course, you'll go, of course, it has to be hello, as I do. Let's have a look. Right, here's the centre of gravity, 3875.3333 pyramid inches to the very apex, with the rejected capstone in place. And as Yah has written in here, missing capstone stolen by Jewish merchants, as everything is. Now, yes, so I trust now you'll have a new comprehension when you come across anything to do with the Great Pyramid, the altar to the Lord. Let's take a look. I opened up a PowerPoint that is already up on the BitChute, I'm pretty sure, but let's take a look now. As a reminder, here are the 3 lines added together, the distance in space multiplied by time being a lunation of the moon, exactly 29.53052 days, is 31101. And as you know, that is the Bible verse total. That's the King James 1611 verse total, but Yah was reborn on Julian Day 24/311/01. So more here. This is in my Google Earth as I laid the Shroud of Turin face carving. This is a photograph of a carving that Yah did when we were in the Riviera. So it was prior to moving into this house in 2012. Yah carved his own image from the Shroud of Turin into a plaster mould, and then a photograph of it, overlaid it as a transparency over the Great Pyramid of Giza at the speed of light latitude that you can see there. And here we go as a reminder that the height of the pyramid up to the summit platform, 5449 pyramid inches, which just happens to be the Hebrew gematria total of the 2 verses from Isaiah 19, verses 19 and 20, which is all about the altar to the Lord in the midst of Egypt. That's the Great Pyramid. And yeah, the Comforter verses. So this is what Yah wanted me to go over again, because the 7, right, when you add the 8 names and you get Comforter 3875, 7, well, that leads us to the 7 Comforter verses. 3 of them listed in the Old Testament, 4 of them all from John in the New Testament. And as you know, when we add up the 7 verse numbers only, they total 67.54, which just happens to be 6754.5 square inches is the area of the image area of the Shroud of Turin. Because as you know, because you've been listening to Yah, the Shroud of Turin are 2 pieces. You've got the larger image area and then the very narrow strip at the side, which was the binding for the jaw. And but the image area is 6754.5 square inches. 6754 in the Hebrew Concordance is a phantom, illusion, resemblance, hence a representative figure, especially an idol, image, vain show, etc. So the area of the image area is telling you, because it comes from the 7 Comforter verses, this is the image of the Comforter, who is the Holy Ghost, who is the Father himself, the old man, recorded as the first photograph. And it's a 3D image. Right, back to the height of the 2 verses. Back here, here we go. The progression, this done by Pierre in the Netherlands. Yah's image with the overlay of the Shroud of Turin. And here it is in its fullness. Teslim, the image, front and back. Here it is here. with that, I'll finish. And yeah, we hope, well, we know we're going to see more of you very soon. It's coming up to the end of May as we go into June, and we do appreciate all of you who have come and all who can't make it to Tugum but have sent text messages and made connection. And yes, our thoughts are with all of you as well. And right, so I'll say later, Gators.